The Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde. Rattling chains, blood-chilling groans, the wind howling around an ancestral home on a stormy night. Welcome to the world of ghosts and ghouls. Here is a tale of a down-to-earth, practical American family who refused to believe in the existence of natural creatures and moved into their new residence in England, a place that was supposedly been home to a murderously terrifying ghost for the past 300 years. A new home for the Otis family. Chapter 1. The Canterville Chase. Chase is a term used in the United Kingdom to define a type of land reserved for hunting used by its owner. Canterville Hall is called a chase because it was a place where upper-class people would gather to hunt. It would have been stocked with game, such as pheasants or deer, and a popular activity would have been to go out on horseback to shoot these animals. When Mr. Hiram B. Otis, the American minister, brought Canterville Chase, everyone told him he was doing a very foolish thing, as there was no doubt at all that the place was haunted. Lord Canterville, who was a man of the most punctilious honour, had felt it was his duty as the original owner of the property to mention the fact to Mr. Otis about the ghost, so when they came to discuss the terms and sign the deal, Lord Canterville said, "We have not cared to live in the place ourselves since my grand-aunt, the Dowager Duchess of Bolton, was frightened into a fit because there were two skeleton hands placed on her shoulders as she was dressing for dinner, and she never really recovered from the shock. I feel it is my duty to warn you about the ghost, Mr. Otis, that it is real, as it has been seen by several living members of my family, as well as even by our own church priest. After what happened to my grand-aunt, none of our younger servants would stay with us. My wife, Lady Canterville, couldn't sleep at night due to the mysterious noises that came from the corridors and the library, to which Mr. Otis answered, "My lord, I've come from modern country where money can buy anything, and we always have the family doctor for any health issues, so I will take the furniture and the ghost for the estimate." To this the Lord Canterville said, "The ghost sure exists, Mr. Otis, and it always appears before the death of any member of the family for the past 300 years. However, if you don't mind a ghost in the house, then I don't have any issue to sign off the deal." And so, after a few weeks, the purchase was concluded, and the Otis family shifted to the Canterville Chase. There were 6 of them. The Otis family comprises of 6 members. The first one, the father, Mr. Hiram B. Otis. He was an American minister, a practical man, very bold and fearless. Second member was the mother, Mrs. Lucretia Otis, a very handsome middle-aged woman with fine eyes and who was very fashionable. The third member was the eldest son, Washington Otis, who was named after the President George Washington. He was a very good-looking young man and an excellent dancer. The fourth member was the daughter, Virginia Otis. She was a 15-year-old girl with large blue eyes and a wonderful horsewoman. And the fifth and sixth members were the twins, whose nicknames were the Stars and Stripes, named after the American flag. They were both boys. They were always getting canned or whipped for being naughty by the father, Mr. Hiram Otis. So here we see that Hiram Otis is a very strict person, but on the other hand, he is also very affectionate and a caring father. As Canterville Chase is 7 miles from Ascot, the only railway station near Canterville Chase, Mr. Otis telegraphed for a wagonette. A wagonette is a light open four-wheeled horse-drawn carriage. It was a lovely July evening. The air was delicate with the scent of the pine woods, wood pigeon brooding over its sweet voice. Little squirrels peered at them from the trees. Rabbits scooted away through the brushwood. It was a beautiful sight. However, as they entered the avenue of Canterville Chase, the sky became suddenly overcast with dark clouds, and before they reached the house, some big drops of rain had fallen. Standing on the steps to receive them was an old woman, neatly dressed in black silk, with a white cap and apron. This was none other than Mrs. Umney, the housekeeper, who has been a housekeeper for the last 50 years in Canterville Chase, and at the request of Lady Canterville, the Otis family hired her as their housekeeper. She welcomed them and led them through the hall into the library. It was a long, low room panelled in black oak, at the end of which was a large stained-glass window. Here they found tea laid out for them, and after taking off their coats they sat down. Everyone sat down, and they looked around. Suddenly Mrs. Otis caught sight of a dull red stain on the floor just by the fireplace, and so she said to Mrs. Umney that something had been spilled there, to which the old housekeeper replied in a low voice, "Yes, madam, blood has been spilt on that spot." "How horrid!" cried Mrs. Otis. "I don't at all care for bloodstains. It must be removed at once." Mrs. Umney answered in the same low, mysterious voice, "It is the blood of Lady Eleanor de Canterville, who was murdered on that very spot by her own husband, Sir Simon de Canterville, in 1575, and after 9 years even Sir Simon disappeared suddenly under very mysterious circumstances. His body has never been discovered, but his guilty spirit still haunts the chase. The bloodstain has been much admired by the tourists who come and visit this chase, and cannot be removed. No one can remove the bloodstain." When Washington Otis heard what Mrs. Umney said, that the bloodstain cannot be removed, he cried out, by saying, "That is all nonsense. Pinkerton's Champion Stain Remover and Paragon Detergent will clean it up in no time." And saying so, he went down on his knees, and was rapidly rubbing hard the floor with a small stick of what looked like a black cosmetic. In a few moments no trace of the bloodstain could be seen. "I knew it! I knew Pinkerton would do it!" he exclaimed, and every one looked at him admiringly, his family. But no sooner had he said these words, a terrible flash of lightning and thunder lit up the dull, dark room, and Mrs. Umney fainted, seeing that. When Mrs. Otis saw that Mrs. Umney fainted, she told her husband that something should be done to Mrs. Umney, and that if she keeps on fainting, it will not be good for them. To which Mr. Otis replied that they should start charging her whenever she faints or deduct from her salary, so that she wouldn't faint again. Mrs. Umney overheard that, and she was very upset, and she warned Mr. Otis to be careful, as some trouble is coming to the house. She also added that she saw things with her own eyes in the past and was not able to sleep as well. However, Mr. Otis and Mrs. Otis, the husband and wife, assured her that they are not afraid of ghosts. They don't believe in ghosts. Ghosts and spirits are all superstitious. To which Mrs. Umney prayed for them. She prayed a prayer for her new owner and discussed for an increase in her salary, after which she went off to her own room, unable to walk straight of because she fainted. She fall off suddenly, and everyone went to their own room to take rest because they were all tired of the journey that they had in the morning. So chapter 1 is over. The next chapter, chapter 2, we will meet the legendary ghost in the next chapter. Thank you.